Welcome to Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Orange, man. This is a new episode. Monday, what is it, April 3rd today?
April 3rd.
April 3rd, we have the Friday show coming up. That's later on. That's with Will and Xavi. They're going to do the fantasy part. We're going to do the first 4 games of the season, the opening week. And there was a lot of exciting things happening. But before we start our show, Ernie, how are you doing, dude? Everything good?
Everything's good, man. Thank you for tuning in, guys. It was an exciting opening week. I got to go to Dodger Stadium for opening night. Man, it was a great night at Dodger Stadium. Seeing the new player. We had the new lights at Dodger Stadium, which were amazing for every Dodger bomb you saw this year.
Is there an alarm? Is there an alarm every time they hit a home run or something like that?
No, there's no alarm, but there's just some like blue LED lights that do go on that go super dark into the stadium. Looks pretty cool, man. All the fans were like, what the hell? Where these lights come from? Looks amazing. We also saw the wedding proposal gone wrong, which was pretty cool, man.
Hey, I heard it was his friends, and that's the security, though. I thought it was his friends, and was it security or his friends?
Who was, Carlos?
The guy that tackled the dude that was proposing. Was it his friends or was it security?
I'm not too sure, man. I think it's probably his friends trying to stop him from getting married, man.
They're like, hey, don't do it. Don't do it, bro. Oh, that's crazy. Well, we got a good show today. We're going to go and talk about the Rendon Incident. We'll get into that first. And then the first impression on baseball. You know, of course, we talk about the clock. And then it's Trout and Ohtani. How many times are they going to go back to back? Because those two guys are always on it. And it seems like they're going to hit a lot of bombs this year. So we'll talk about that as we go on. But the Rendon Incident, if you haven't heard about it or you haven't seen it, we'll play the video for you here so you guys can see the action.
Yeah, you called me a bitch, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, motherfucker. Calm down.
Oh man, that's you hate to see that type of stuff, but dude, Rendon just called it how it is. He was just being real, dude.
You know what it was, and then I saw other footage. The fan does look like he is talking smack to the Angels players as they're walking out to the dugout. It was a tough loss for the Angels the first game, and that's not the way you wanted to start the season. And the last thing you wanted to hear was a fan heckling you in your middle of your ear. Yeah. So it was just his moment to like let it out, his frustration. Think about it, man. The guy has been injured for the past 2 years, and then his only full season was in 2020, which is a short season.
Yeah.
And obviously this is kind of frustrating as an Angel fan. He is one of the highest paid third baseman players right now, and unfortunately it's been hard to watch him in the field, and this is where we need him the most this year.
Exactly. So they did give him a 5-game suspension, and because of the altercation that happened with the fan in Oakland, it looks like he is going to be appealing this, right, Ernie?
Right. Looks like it just got dropped down to 4 games.
4 games? Which I still think is kind of high, dude, to be honest.
I think so, too. I think one series should have been enough. 3 games would have probably been the right amount.
Yeah. After him appealing it, but I guess because he swung at the fan or he touched them and stuff like that, it's just you hate to see these things because this is a quiet guy. This is a quiet player. He goes about his business every day. He plays third base, but like you just mentioned, he does get injured. He has been getting injured from after the 2020 season. We haven't seen him on the field that much, and I can see how frustrating it can be. That night, he got on base, right? He got on base on opening day and everything.
Right. Couple strikeouts, though.
And it was a 1-0 game up to the 8th inning, and I can see the frustration building up because they had chances to score, and they didn't provide that. So, and Ohtani threw a great game that day. So I just see his frustration. But further than that, we talked about it in the last show, and I want your thoughts on this. Where do we draw the line for these fans, dude? Like, I understand that you go to the game, you pay your seat, and you're talking baseball. And yeah, it's okay to talk to the players and talk mess to the players and all that stuff. But where do we draw the line? Like, where is that line drawn? And like, I honestly feel like the fan needs to be represented too as well. Maybe get a ban from the stadium for a while or something like that. But what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? The fans could be ruthless sometimes. When they have alcohol in their system, times people just go a little off, man. And I mean, I think you have to draw the lines by fans not saying vulgar words to the players. That's when I feel like that's already crossing the line,
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
saying you suck, Rendon, that's okay. That's fine. But when you're constantly, saying bad words to them, that's when it looks really bad.
Yeah, because as you saw the video, he said, "You call me a bitch. You're calling me a bitch."
Exactly. And he's like, no, I didn't. Like, now he looked all scared, for his life.
Hey, but you know what? Rendon was smiling when he was telling him, "Hey, man, you call me a bitch." Like,
Did you see Ohtani's face in the back? He looked like he was scared. Like, this, I don't want no part of this.
Let me get out of here. There's a lot of other footage, like I guess footage from the upper deck showing where Ohtani's walking by. And while Ohtani was walking by, that's when the altercation was happening. So I think the guy that was right behind him, or it was the first base coach, Benji Heel.
Yeah.
And then you had the guy that looks like Trout, Renfro. Coming right behind him. He was like, "What the hell's going on?" So all those things are happening. Like he's getting suspended 4 games. I don't know. I feel like he should serve him like now, so he can get it out the way. Because what if the Angels do have that push later on in the year, and they really need his bat? So right now the season's still fresh. Why not do it now? Serve it. Let's get rid of it. Get him back on the field. Like I know.
Yeah.
I know you're an Angel fan. I know you just said it. It's frustrating. It sucks. But if you're gonna do it now. Get rid of it.
Exactly.
Do it now. Like
he's already out of the lineup right now in current game right now. He looks like he's not currently playing. He will be serving the suspension out. But I was surprised by the MLB. I thought it took a little longer than I expected. I was expecting a next day or two just have the suspension out. But they took a whole weekend of investigating, and looks like the fan.
Yeah, go for it.
Looks like the fan and Rendon have apologized to one another from certain reports I read.
Okay.
So it's time to move on. Just serve this 4-game suspension. Look forward for the rest of the season, and time to get back on track. That's all we can do.
Well, let's move on to the next, man. Let's go ahead and talk about the new faces and new places, dude. There's a lot of players out there that people still don't understand that they don't play for that team anymore. And I did have the pictures ready for us, but for some reason it didn't upload and the video is not available, but I do remember the players. So we'll go ahead and start with that. I know the first one was the player that everybody likes out here in LA, and it's Cody Bellinger. He's out there in Chicago. By the way, he did his first home run today. So all you Dodger fans are still in love with Cody Bellinger. He's in Chicago. So he's still wearing a blue, but not for the same city. So he's rocking that Cubby blue out there.
Yeah, man. He's out there in the Windy City,
Yeah.
I think it was a good move for the Cubs. They wanted to get some experienced players out there, some veterans with playoff experience. But, obviously Bellinger has been struggling the past 3 years. He has not been the same hitter that he once was. Yeah. We wish the best for him. You wish he could get out that funk he had recently. The playoffs were always tough for him. Somehow the pitchers were always have his number. And, he had a hard time at the end here at the Dodger Stadium. Yeah. He started becoming a liability instead of like he once was in 2018.
Exactly. What's up, Jasper? How's it going? He's out here. Thank you for joining us. And the other player, we'll just go ahead and talk about him. Is he was a White Sox. Now he's with the Astros. Jose Abreu. He's a big hitter. He was a first baseman for the White Sox. And when he signed with the Astros, was just like, wow, he's going to a powerhouse, and he's just going to add to it. So. Jose Abreu, he's going to be an impactful player for the Astros, I feel.
Talk about a lineup. That team is loaded. Unfortunately, Altuve is currently out, but with Jose Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez, man, you got these guys that could hit bombs. And unfortunately, it seems not fair, right?
Nah. It doesn't seem fair at all.
The White Sox beat the Astros this week. They gave them a couple of fights. So, it was fun to watch. But this is a team that is really stacked, man. And it's like, how did they get this player? Just another veteran bat to have out there in the the middle of the lineup. It's time to start raking. But yeah.
It's gonna be crazy with the way the Astros are set up, and with Jose Altuve not being there right now because of when he got hit in the WBC. I think the Astros right now, if you want to gain ground on them, I know it's just the start of the season. But if you want to gain ground on this team, I think it's now. The time is now to do it. So when Jose Altuve comes back and they're already clicking in all cylinders, you're kind of close to probably giving them a battle for that division. But yeah, that lineup is really stacked. So let's go to the next player. And the other player that has moved on, and he was with the Red Sox, is Sander Bogarts, and he's been an impactful player since since the season started. He's been playing really good shortstop for the Padres. I think he already hit like 2 bombs for them, and he's been raking. So he's not with the Red Sox anymore. He's with the Padres in that stacked lineup, and he just adds more to the lineup. And Tatis is not even there yet.
Right. So he's showing that he's worth all the money that he deserved. And he puts you in question. This guy is going to take over shortstop, right? So what happens to Tatis now? Is that contract worth it? Is it time to move on to Tatis? This guy could produce.
Exactly.
He's looking hot since the WBC with the Netherlands. He came back straight to Padres, started raking. This guy has shown no signs of decline. He's still young. You got Tatis that's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Now you got the steroid use. It gets to a point where it's not going to be able to pay all these players.
Yeah.
So you have to start realizing who it's time to get rid of.
You think Tatis is he's not gonna be a Padre at the end of the year?
I think the Padres will do anything to keep him. Their whole mindset is just we got to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So I don't think Juan Soto will stay, but I definitely feel like they'll try to keep their main core and they'll do anything that has to take to beat the Dodgers. So I think they're just frustrated at being the second place to the Dodgers.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. I feel the same way. The next guy, and it's another Dodger that's not there anymore. He's with the Phillies. Is Trey Turner. A lot of people, I follow a lot of guys that are Dodger fans. They're like, oh, if Trey Turner was there, he would have got on base. If Trey Turner was there, he would have stole second base. Guys, he's not there anymore. Like, forget about it. Like, we have another shortstop. Gavin Lux is injured. He might be ready for next season. They went and get Miguel Rojas. He's doing a good job at short. So let's forget about all these what ifs. Corey Seager's not there. Trey Turner's not there anymore. Like, let's move on. Move on from that. This is a business. MLB is a business. It's like when you have a job and you apply for a different position and you get it and you move department. You move to that department. You don't forget about your teammates there. But guess what? You don't work for them anymore. You go and work for the other department. That's the same thing that happens in the MLB. I know, like, a lot of people fall in love with the player and stuff like that. But yeah, Trey Turner is going to be doing wonders out there in Philly.
For sure.
So he moved on already. Let's move on ourselves too.
Right.
So.
He moved on, man. It was $300 million. He couldn't say no to.
Exactly.
And the Dodgers couldn't afford him that much. I feel like the Dodgers have changed their mindset this year. They're not spending as much as we're used to.
Yeah.
You hear that they're under the Ohtani sweepstakes, so they're probably saving their money as much as they can for next year.
Yeah.
But Turner was just going to be $300 million. You have young talent out there in the minor league system.
Yeah.
Just wait it out. You still could compete in the playoffs. Turner's going to be a great addition to the Phillies. Unfortunately, with Hoskins and Harper out right now, he will keep them afloat. I think the Phillies will still compete right now, but if it wasn't for him, man, I would be worried for the Phillies.
Exactly. And you're right. You hit it right on the nail with that one, because I honestly feel that Trey Turner is going to keep that team afloat. Once you have Bryce Harper come back, Rich Hoskins, I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but when he comes back as well, that's when they're going to start clicking. And the Mets are kind of having trouble, and they have old guys in the starting rotation, which might have that arm fatigue. I don't know. That's another story for another day with the Mets. But as the season goes on, we will talk and we'll discuss that. Let's go on to the next one. Sean Murphy. He was with the Oakland A's and he went to the Braves. And not a lot of people know who this guy is. He's a catcher, and he was raking with the A's, dude. Big time.
He's a young, productive catcher, man. The Braves continue to find these young core players. They sign them early on before they leave. Unfortunately, they lost Dansby Swanson. But I feel like they saw their core and they're like, we don't need this guy. Exactly. He's worth so much money. We have these other future with the Braves. These players this team's going to be good for a long time. Sean Murphy, there's hard to find catchers, Carlo. There's not that many great catchers out there. Not catchers that can rake and catch and call a good game.
Exactly. So, those are hard to come by. And you just said Dansby Swanson. Where is he at?
He's with the Cubs.
Exactly. He's not with the Braves anymore.
Exactly. So he went with the Cubs. I feel like the Cubs focused too much on hitters, in which they didn't improve their hitting, and they didn't. And then to mention another player, Wilson Contreras, huge loss for the Cubs. I mean, this guy's the backbone of that defense, that catching for the Cubs. And he went to the Cardinals, which was a huge addition.
The rival
to your division rival, right? And not only that, they just solidified their position with the departure of Molina, man. So not only did this team just get better defensively, they didn't have to wait to, groom a new player. They just got a new veteran ready to go.
Exactly.
So.
You know what's crazy? Yadier Molina is a huge catcher. He knows how to navigate the pitching and everything. But Whitson Contreras is one of those catchers as well. He knows how to dictate the game and how to move the game around, and that's why the Cardinals got him. They needed someone to back Yadier Molina up, and they did. They went after Contreras. They got their man. They got him there now, and he's not really known for his hitting, but his hitting is kind of there too as well. Like, it's not something that you can kind of fall asleep on him. So the Cardinals did a good job on that one. He's not with the Cubs anymore. He's with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals they're going to be a competitor for the Central. Let's move on, man. The other one, and I had already mentioned the Mets. So the Mets went and got Justin Verlander from Justin Verlander didn't feel right staying with the Astros, but before the season started, and hours or minutes before the season started with the Mets, he came down with an injury, and he's on the 15-day IL. That's with the arm fatigue and all that stuff we were talking about, older guys. And I don't know. I feel like he's going to come back, but a shoulder injury is a tough injury to get over. I don't know how you feel about that injury, but I feel like he's going to be out more time than just 15 days.
For sure. There's no way he's going to be possible to get those 30 starts that he was expecting. Not even 20. It's looking very hard that he'll get there. This guy is a great pitcher, man. Don't get me wrong. One of the greatest we've had in the MLB for the past decade. But
yeah,
they're always at that time where the players finally feel fatigue and they don't become those players that they once were when they were with the previous team.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what's going on with the Mets. We got Scherzer and Verlander. They're just players that one of the greatest pitchers, just a little too late for me.
Yeah.
But
you know what's funny? You did say that they were a little too late. Imagine if you would have signed them 5 or 6 years before on the same team again, because they were on the same team in the Tigers. Remember?
That's right. They were younger there.
They were younger there. They did go to the World Series, but they didn't win it. And now they're with the Mets. They're trying to get that going. But with the Mets, they have Scherzer and they have Verlander, but they didn't get their guy DeGrom. DeGrom left to Texas, and now he's out there in Texas. And we didn't talk about them so much. Texas being one of the top teams. I don't know why we're falling asleep on the Rangers. Remember who's there? Bruce Bochy, man. He's won 3. There. Exactly. He won 3 World Series with the Giants, and he took the Padres back in '98 to the World Series. So this man knows his baseball. He knows how to get to the World Series or to the playoffs. So I don't think we should fall asleep on the Rangers.
Not at all, man. They actually just swept their first series this weekend.
Really? I didn't even see that. They've swept the Phillies?
They're swept the Phillies, man, and they're one of the teams that are only undefeated right now. Wow. This is a young team, man. You got Marcus Semien, Corey Seager. You got players that could hit. They're coming up, man, and you are right. We should be worried about these Rangers, man. Bruce Bochy, good coach.
Yeah. We're falling asleep on them, dude. We're not even talking about it. I think we did the preview like 2 weeks ago. We didn't even mention the Rangers. We were talking about the Angels winning the wild card, pushing for that, and then the Astros winning the division, right? And the Mariners being one of those top teams
in the mix.
But the Rangers we didn't even mention. And we were like, what? So Bruce Bochy is there. There's all these players, all these core players there. So there's leadership going on there. And don't fall asleep on the Rangers. We'll see in the midseason where they're at, and we'll talk about that as we go on. Let's talk about the Yankees. Carlos Rodon is with the Yankees. He's injured right now, but that rotation looks different with him in that team. So I don't know, I posted a video on TikTok. This man had a beard before, and now he doesn't, because you have to be clean shaved to be a Yankee. He looks weird, man. I don't know about you, but I didn't recognize him when he shaved and he had that shirt.
I didn't recognize him either, man. He looks like a total new man. Changed his life to become a Yankee.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to see him. I think you're the one that sent me that video.
I did.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about another guy, and this is another Dodger. It's like, oh my God, all these guys are all these people here in LA fall in love with these players, and it's fine to do that because you kind of see them on an everyday basis, kind of like when the Kobe Bryant incident happened. A lot of people were crying, a lot of people were sad because they lost Kobe Bryant, and it's like a lot of people were asking, like, why are you crying? Why are you feeling down? I'm like, it's not so much about that. It's so much about when you were watching the game, you had those good feelings going with Kobe Bryant and stuff like that. And when he passed away, like it felt like something, was missing with you, right? So
Right.
you were missing those games, and you were thinking like, what? Like, it's no more Kobe Bryant. Like, what happened? He passed
Exactly.
away. So it's kind of a similar thing. I understand fans feeling that way. So this man that went to the Red Sox, Justin Turner, was a huge dude that like had a lot of fundraisers, a lot of things happen here in LA. He's from, I believe, Lakewood. He's from Lakewood, and he gave back a lot to the city. I understand a lot of people feel like, oh, why he left, but he left because the Dodgers took too long to sign him. So he's with the Red Sox now. I feel
Right.
like he's gonna do good over there. He got 2 hits his first game in opening day, which is good for him. But he's not a Dodger anymore. So if you want to root for him, you can root for the back of his name, not the front. Like we usually like how you say it. I usually go for the jerseys. I guess it's the front, the name on the front,
Right.
not in the
Right.
back. I mean, there's nothing wrong if you're going for the player. That's good too, right? So,
Yeah,
but he's not
man.
a Dodger anymore. He's not a Dodger
Turner
anymore.
was definitely a big hit here in LA. He was here for some big moments on these playoff runs. Not
Yep.
gonna forget that game 2 walk-off against John Lackey. Man, he
Man.
has some great memorable moments here with the Dodgers. Unfortunately, time comes and it's time to leave. These
Yep.
players can't stay in the team for a long time, man. These contracts come up, and some teams had decided to move younger. Unfortunately, Justin Turner was getting to that age now where he was getting a little older.
Yeah.
He's a huge veteran presence, though, but
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers wanted to go younger this year. This game on Thursday I was at, Carlo,
Uh-huh.
it just felt different. This was a whole new team now.
Yeah.
It's like that old Dodger team was no longer there. Yeah, Freddie Freeman was there, but he's still fairly young. He's
Yeah.
only his second season. Mookie Betts, he's like the most veteran there now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it just felt weird. It was like all these new players, like new faces. They got the David Peralta, JD Martinez. It was just like, man, these guys were big time players for their team, and now they're here at the Dodgers. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
hard
true.
to see.
Well, there's more players to be named. Those are just
Man.
the high mention. But if there's any players that we missed, go ahead and put them on the chat, and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, man.
Let's move on to the next step of the show. I know we've talked about the new faces, new places. Let's talk about the time clock. And has it been any effect in the time clock that you've seen in these past 4 games?
Well, Carlo, it looks like from these past 4 games, from Thursday to Sunday, there was 40 violations in those
40?
50 games. 40 violations. Can you believe that?
Nah,
So-
that sounds like a lot.
It really does, but it was only 0.8 for a game, so it was really not that many. None of them had that huge of an impact.
Yeah.
But it was definitely 40, and it sounds like a pretty big number if you ask me. For 4
It
games.
is for 4 games. Yeah,
For 4 days. I'm sorry, for 4 days.
4 days. Yeah, it does sound like a lot. It sounds like a lot
But-
of like you got a lot of tickets.
I know, right? But you know what? I'm loving this time clock. There's just such more action at these games. I feel like you have to be watching baseball at all times because you can miss that great play just by being on your phone or being distracted. These
Yeah.
games are moving such at a faster pace. The average of the game has also decreased by 30 minutes
Yeah,
compared to
Yeah.
last year. So this is a huge change. I feel like it's gonna get these new fans, the new generation, to just enjoy the game more.
yeah, that's
Having
true.
less time to watch because people's attention span is shorter these days. I feel like people get bored right away. They just want to get going to the next activity.
You know what's crazy? I have a fun fact about this one. There's a game between the Mariners and the Indians. Oh, not the Indians, the Guardians. Sorry, still saying Indians. It's the Guardians, and they went 2 hours and 3 minutes. So that's the fastest game time clock wise in this time of era to be. I guess is the fastest game right now. So yeah, the Mariners and the Guardians are the fastest game at 2 hours and 3 minutes, which is gonna be the norm for either 2 hours and 30, 2 hours and minutes. So
Right.
it's gonna be a crazy thing. Let's get into, since it's a time clock. I know we've been talking about throwing the first base and all this stuff. Like, how many stolen bases have there been? And there's been quite a few, because there's been that pickoff move when you throw the first. You have to throw. You throw twice, and if the third time, if you throw it and you don't get him out, he's awarded second base. And the hitters, I guess the runners know this already. They kind of understand that if they throw twice, the third time they're not going to throw, you go. And they get that stolen base. So there's 70 stolen bases. That's the most since 1998. That's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Last year they
What a
had like 23
number.
stolen bases, right?
Right, that is correct.
That's crazy, dude. That's
So
crazy.
you're seeing the effects of the bigger bases, the time change. You got these pitchers just so focused on the time clock these days that the runner's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on my batter, then worry about the runner.
Exactly.
But it's making the game more exciting. Now you have these speedy base hitters that could get on base. They could just be on first or third in the span of the next at bat, and just change the whole game just in a quick instinct.
Yeah. Yeah. I also seen a crazy shift. It's not the shift we're used to seeing, but they're bringing in, I forgot what team it was. They brought in the right fielder to play the rover spot, I guess.
Right.
And they brought the center fielder to play the right center field. Even though they got a ground ball, they missed it. They didn't get it. But
really?
they're still doing they still did that little shift. And if the hitter would have hit it to right field, that guy would have probably made it all the way to third base, or probably inside the park home run. But they're finding ways to do things, so they're adjusting. This game is a game of adjustments. Yano Navarro said it best when we had him on. What was it, last Monday?
Last week.
Yeah, he said that it's a game of adjustments. You got to adjust to it. You can't just be crying about it and expect the league to change it back. No, you got to move forward. If these changes happen, you got to move with it. I was one of them. Remember, I was one of the first ones to say like I didn't like it. And yeah, I didn't, but I didn't understand it. I still don't understand some of the rules. The umpires still are having trouble out there on the field. So as we get older and the time passes by, we're gonna get so used to this. I think I've said this on the other show that in the 50s, 60s, 70s, this was normal. There was no time, but the game was done in 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
This was normal. It was happening fast. It was getting the ball and start throwing it, getting the ball, start throwing it. So none of that like taking your time and doing all this extra stuff like that. That
Wrapping
doesn't
your
count
gloves.
anymore. Yeah.
The Nomar Garcia Park gloves, taking the sweet time.
Yeah.
Let me take time from the up real quick, another 30 seconds.
That's like superstition, man. It's a superstition game. Like,
let me fix my cup real quick, Let me do all these little things. Let me touch my ears before I go up to bat.
Let me spit on my hands. Let me clap a little. Let me look at the stand, see who I see. Like if I know someone, you had enough time to do that before. Like that's what I had trouble with. But I do understand what is it that they're doing. It's not just about that. It's about giving the fans more game than less game. With this changes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If you were at that game 2 hours and 3 minutes, would you have been upset as a fan that you paid this much for a ticket and it was only 2 hours long?
Well, it all depends, because if it's an opening day game like a Dodger Stadium and you want to get something to eat or you want to like go walk around the stadium, you wouldn't have time to do all that, right? So for opening day, I think it's more of a festivity that you need to kind of like sit down and watch the game and like enjoy everything that's happening. But you also want to walk around the stadium. And if they're only giving you 2 hours and 3 minutes to do that, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to do it. But with that said, I do like that it's moving faster and you're understanding the game, that the game is going to get better because you're getting more game out of it than no game, because the no game part, it's where it's like, there's no noise, nothing happening.
Right.
So
you'll go an hour without seeing a run, and you're just like, okay.
And that hour might take 1 inning, 2 innings?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I understand where everybody was coming from when they were telling me this is good for the game. I was just being old school and not understanding what was happening, because I guess the superstition for me is different. Like I played the game like all the way up to like whatever I got older, and I understand it more now than I did when I was a kid. And that's what I'm trying to teach these kids when we go and coach, right? Excuse me. But dude, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that the game does need to be faster. It needs to be faster paced, because there needs to be more game than there's like no game. It's kind of like in football. You have 3 seconds, 4 seconds of football, and then the time is running, but there's no football happening in that time, right? The time doesn't stop, but it happens, dude. So I understand that it needs to happen, and we have to adjust to it, just like the players have to adjust to it. I'm just doing it to it.
Right.
So yeah. So with that, the first impression of the first week of baseball, what do you think about that? Felix, what's up, man? How's it going? Everything good out there? Hopefully everything's good, man. I got Ernie Orange here. He's a new guy on Real Talk Baseball. Felix is one of the guys that's been on the show, like, constant. He's a vet. And he's a good vet that follows us. So thank you, Felix, for being on here. Jasper's one of them too. So if you both are on here, like big ups for you guys. But yeah, the first impression of the first week, dude. Like, what do you think? Do you like it? The pace and everything that's going on right now?
Oh man, first impressions. I'm having a great time watching baseball, Carlos.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the defensive plays, which is not really being talked about, man. But without the shift, like you mentioned before, we're gonna have these Derek Jeter type plays. We are finally seeing some great plays out there. We had the Hunter Renfroe outfield catch, which was amazing. It's already talking about catch of the year on the first game of the year, which was pretty fun to see. We're seeing definitely a lot of defensive plays. Shout out to Luis Robert from the White Sox. Also had a great diving catch out there in the outfield.
I saw that. And you know what? Man, Felix is saying that he's going to be the comeback, and he's going to be one of the players you look for. He messaged me 2 weeks ago, and he's going to be the comeback player. So Felix, man, Luis Roberts right there.
Yeah, man. So, we're having some great plays. This shift is much better, man. Even Joey Gallows has changed his approach. He has 3 home runs in the past 2 games. Just a shift. It's fine. He's heating up. This shift was ruining the game of baseball a little bit, man. It ruined a lot of people's careers,
It did.
Prince Fielder was no longer the same player. Ryan Howard, those lefty power hitters we once had, was kind of ruining the game, man, because these guys were some powerful hitters, hitting 40 bombs a year. The shift came around, started hitting in the 20s, striking out more often, more ground balls. And, the game changed, so they were like, time to cut these guys, which these guys were once, to get more people that are going to get more on-base percentage, so they had to move on.
But the game has changed a long time ago, though, and really that's what people don't understand, that the game has changed from the Moneyball, where you're talking about Billy Bean. If you guys haven't seen that movie, Moneyball, you guys should see it. That's a good movie. Like, it's not action-packed. It's more of a dialogue type of movie. But, it's a good movie, dude. And I think it's not my favorite, but it's one of the movies that I like to go watch because it's so calm. That one and Trouble with the Curve. If you're a baseball player and you understand, like, when someone hits it on the barrel and you can hear it, maybe you should be a scout.
No, for
seriously. Like, I don't know how many people, like, when you go to the stadium and someone hits it on the barrel and it sounds clean, do you know the ball's gone, or do you wait? Do you see it?
I know when I have a pretty good feeling when it's gone. From the time of watching baseball, man. But yeah,
dude, when I hear it's like pop, when I hear that pop, like, I turn around, I'm like, that ball's gone. That's gone. There's no way that ball's not gone. So I can hear things. I can hear the pop, like when the pitcher is hitting the glove. That guy's throwing 100+. There's no way that man's going to get hit today. Like, you can hear the heavy ball. You can hear all this stuff. So if you have the same thing happening and you have a good ear, be a scout. But watch that movie, Trouble with the Curveball. I think it's a good movie.
I never watched that one.
You haven't?
No,
man. That's a good movie. Justin Timberlake and Clint Eastwood. He's on that.
Wow, okay.
So that's a good movie.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out, dude. Check it out. It's a good movie. I like it's not so much action. It's a dialogue movie, but you'll like it. You're a baseball fan. You'll like it.
It's for the baseball aficionados.
Yeah. Jasper, just glad to be watching some baseball. Exactly. It's that time of year again. We get to smell the grass, the dirt being wet, like all those, all those emotions coming back. Just reminds me of being in spring, dude. So
For sure.
I don't know, being a kid again, and all those smells come in this time. It feels good. Let's go ahead and move on. Sorry if I'm coughing a lot, man. It's cold, and I still have I still have that little cold, and doesn't want to go away. Sorry, we already talked about the impressions. That go and move on to Ohtani and Trout, man. How many times are they gonna hit home runs? Like, back to back. There's just one happened that yesterday, I believe.
Right,
they had a
that's
back
correct.
to back. They were celebrating Trouts, and before you know it, Ohtani hit it out. Boom. So that's just one. I think they're gonna be. They're probably gonna hit that 20 mark, man. Maybe even more. But seriously, I honestly feel like they're gonna do 20 home runs like back to back.
Really?
Yeah,
So
20.
They only have 5 in their career, by the way.
And
so it's only been 5 times where Trout and Ohtani have hit back to back. Unfortunately, these past couple of years, time, so we haven't seen it as much as we want. But I definitely could see a couple 3-4 as an Angel fan, or as just a baseball fan in general. Just watching Trout and Ohtani hitting back to back, that is fun. These guys can hit some bombs, right?
They do,
and
and they play the A's a lot. The A's don't have a lot of like top-notch players, and then they do have a good chemistry going right now. So I think there's going to be a lot. Maybe 20 is a lot, but I'm just putting that number out there because what if they do hit like 15 and something like that? Like, dude, I just feel like I don't know if it's because of the WBC that translated into the season. I feel like these two are going to do something different with the Angels. And when we were talking about Anthony Rendon in the beginning, how he's serving those suspension and he should serve it now as opposed to serving it later, I think that's going to help out the Angels. And I'm not a huge Angel fan, but as a baseball fan, I do see that translate. And the game is of adjustments. The game is about having that camaraderie. The game is about having that excitement and then having that captain. Trout was the captain for the United States team. So maybe that's going to make him voice his opinions, have a voice with the Angels, which I feel that the Angels need that leadership from him. Because the past years, it seems like he was a little bit more quiet, letting things happen. I feel like this year, maybe Trout can be that voice. And with Ohtani, it's his contract year. Maybe that will kind of have him be like, hey, man, we have something good going here. You don't have to go anywhere. We can probably keep you here. We'll get another pitcher. We'll get another whatever you guys need. Boom, we'll get it here. But making to the playoffs, it's on the agenda for the Angels. And I do feel like the Angels need to do that. And I do feel like the Angels are probably going to get there. It's just a matter of like having these guys being working as a team and Rendon pitching in and not being injured. We've talked about this a lot at work, dude.
No, I know. And you do have the two captains. Shohei was also the leader for Japan.
Yeah.
He was very vocal in the championship game. Like, don't look up to these guys. We could beat them as well,
Yeah.
They're just humans just like us. So you saw two guys being leaders for their own country. They're pushing their team. This year is the year, man. They have to definitely make the playoffs. There's no excuses. Even though Rendon did get suspended, he did lose his temper. I do see that driving him this year. That was awesome to see that. He's like you said, he's a very quiet guy, but he spoke up, man. He doesn't want to lose.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And it was just the first game, but this guy showed emotion. He was like fiery, looking like he needs to win this year. There's no excuses.
No excuses. And you know what? It's funny. Like, let's just get into it since we have a little bit extra time to do it. There's a lot of people talking crap about the Padres losing the first 2 games against the Rockies, and they're not going to do anything. Like, oh, come on, man. It's 162 games. There's only 2 games at that point in time where the Padres lost. Now they're 2-2. They won their 2 games. I don't know how they're doing right now because it is Monday. There's a lot of baseball games going. Right. Maybe when we end this show, there's not going to be any more baseball games because the time is going too fast. But look, the game and the season's too long to be talking crap about these teams. Right now, it's not the time. You still have to kind of see where they're going to go, where they're headed, who needs to be making these trades, what trades need to be happen. Are you a seller or are you a keeper? What are you going to do? And I definitely see the Padres playing good baseball. I did not pick them to win the division only because I feel like their pitching is not as strong as everybody else. I feel like the Dodgers have a little bit more depth, and they do have a team captain in Kershaw, which he's showing these younger players how to pitch. So
you saw Dustin May. He looks solid, man.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be the next big thing for the Dodgers. You got Walker Buehler should be coming up. Is he coming back this year?
This year, but I think he's not going to throw all the way. I think he's only going to pitch probably till if he comes in September or,
Okay, so it'll be later in the season.
Yeah, he'll probably pitch like 1 inning or 2. Like, that's all. He's going to be in the pitch limit.
And you know what? I saw Noah Syndergaard pitch this weekend, and he looked okay for a fourth, fifth starter.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same speed he once had, but he's definitely a veteran presence that could bring to these young pitchers for the Dodgers.
He's becoming a pitcher. He's not a flamethrower like he was before, like you just said.
Right.
He's becoming a pitcher. And it's a difference when you're a flamethrower and a pitcher. Because you can throw 99, 100, and blow it by a hitter. But when you become a pitcher, that's when you're throwing slower. And that's when you're picking your spots and throwing in those spots. That's what Greg Maddux, if you don't understand what it is, like Greg Maddux used to pick his spots and he built a career off of that. He didn't throw 100, 99. He threw like 87. I think 86 was his fastball, I believe. Like at the later years.
Right.
But that man like was a pitcher. He wasn't a flamethrower, and he made success of it. He won a lot of Cy Youngs out of it. Look, dude, I understand that we're talking Angels and Dodgers a lot. We're fans of both, but do you feel like the Yankees? Since we did talk about Rodon, do you think that the Yankees are going to be the top team in the East?
You know what? The East is looking very competitive.
Super.
They definitely have the starting rotation there, the bullpen. They have the pitching. Now, it's just luckily if there's no injuries for the Yankees, I think they'll be fine. But any little major injury for them could hurt them down the road, and that's what worries me the most.
Okay.
The pitching, Rodon will be back. He'll be that pitcher he once was. Nestor Cortez, Garrett Cole, Luis Severino's also in the aisle right now. So,
yeah.
Let's just hope these guys get back healthy so they could be that one rotation that is one of the strongest in the MLB right now. But
yeah.
And, it feels like the team is too dependent on Aaron Judge for some reason.
Yeah.
I can't, if I was to put my money on Rizzo, Donaldson and Aaron Hicks, these type of players are great, and then they have a young rookie that we didn't mention, new places, new faces. So let's talk about Anthony Volpe, a first-time rookie that's a shortstop. So I feel like the team is very young. They're too Aaron Judge dependent for me offensively. They got DJ LeMahieu, which he does get on base, but I feel like they're waiting for Giancarlo Stanton. He's a, hot and cold hitter. So is Aaron Hicks. So is Anthony Rizzo. Looks like he's declining. Honestly, the Blue Jays looks way stronger right now. If the pitching with Alex Manoah, they got some pretty good hitters, man.
They do have a stronger pitching. So is the Yankees like they have to do it this year? Or else that's it?
You have to blow up the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally. I mean, the pitching's there, right? But offensively, it's time to get some better hitters out there,
So it's a now thing for the Yankees.
For sure. It's been a now thing for the past 5-6 years, if you ask me. But the Astros have always been there on their way.
I saw a video that Yankees are over there saying F Altuve, and so the Astro fans are kind of, saying like, damn, like you live in these guys' rent free in their heads, man. Like what the hell? Man. We're not even playing you.
Exactly. It's not even the first series of the year, and they're already talking now. The guy's not even playing right now, man. Don't worry about him.
All right. So then another team that we just talked about, the Padres, is that a win now team as well?
It's a win now team, Carlos. This team is stacked, with Tatis coming back, Soto. There's no excuses why they shouldn't win the division.
Yeah.
But like you said, the pitching is in the weaker side. Darvish, he's a little flaky pitcher as well. Nick Martinez. Blake Snell's a great pitcher, man. Don't get me wrong. I like watching that guy pitch, but he is definitely a good pitcher. But I just think that he's the only one out there that could really make a difference for the Padres.
I feel like when he gets to the 4th, 5th inning, that's when he starts struggling. And that's why Cashman took him out in the World Series. Like, there's a lot of memes on that. There's a lot of things that happened. But it happened last year with the Padres as well. It happened to where he would pitch great the first 4. The 5th inning came around, and they had to take him out. I feel like Blake Snell needs to kind of find himself. I think the pitching clock and all this stuff is going to probably help him. It should be able to help him because you get momentum. You get into it. If you lose momentum, then it's hard for you to get into it. But if you have momentum, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning, and you keep going, then you can do good. We got Eli Herrera. He's saying that Darvish is still elite. Yeah, he still is. We're not saying that. It's just we're saying he's gonna have those flaky starts where we're gonna feel like they need to have a solid pitcher, which kind of identify as an ace. That's where we're kind of heading to, right?
Darvish is a great pitcher, right? always fear for him in the big moments. He's shown signs that those big moments he tends to choke a lot. He was supposed to be the starter for the WC final. They went with the younger guy instead.
Yeah.
He came in the 8th inning, gave up a bomb, and that's why they brought in Shohei in the 9th to close it out. So he shows always signs of these big moments. He is a great pitcher. Don't get me wrong; he's one of the great Japanese pitchers we have in the league today.
Yeah.
But definitely, there's more coming. Didn't get a chance to mention, but you got the Senga with the Mets and this guy named Fuji from the A's.
From the A's, he kind of looks like Ohtani. I think he was a battle.
He pitches just like Ohtani.
He does, right?
Man, it looked like I was watching a copycat of him.
Didn't they battle it out back in the days in Japan?
Right, they did battle it out, man. So, he was there to pitch against Shohei, struck out Mike Trout over the weekend. He had some good moments, but then got nervous.
He got rocked.
Yeah.
So the Padres is a must-win now, right? Because
it is a must-win.
We don't know where Soto's going either. We don't know if he's going to sign with the Padres or he's going to go somewhere else. And I don't know where the Padres are having all this money from. They have a lot of money. So for some reason, they're like, oh, we have money here. Let's just sign whoever we have. I think they
Padres and the Mets are just spending like crazy, man.
And that's the next team I was going to tell you, the Mets. Is that a win now team as well with the age of these pitchers?
Definitely, man. It's a must-win season for them. They have to win the NL East, although I don't see it very likely. Buck Showalter is a great manager, man. He does get his players fired up.
Mm-hmm.
And, they have Frankie Lindor. They got a great players, man. But I just think the pitching is a little too out to date now. It's time to go fresh arms out there.
And maybe their approval's wrong. Maybe they're like, hey, man,
it's too early.
The older we're getting, the harder we're throwing.
Right.
So these guys know how to throw hard and they know how to play baseball. And the Mets are trying to build that team. Frankie Lindor is one of the ones that was with Puerto Rico, and he brought that back. Like, he wants to win. He wants to get that championship. And I know, like, for sure, since he was with the Indians, he played against the Cubs in 16. Right. They lost that World Series, so he's hungry to get that ring. And it's not just him. There's a lot of, like, you have Pete Alonso there. Excuse me. Right. You have Pete Alonso there. You have all these guys that are talented that can make that team win. But I just feel for some reason, and not just me, there's all these analysts saying the same thing. They feel like that the pitching is a little too old. And will it hold up all the way to the playoffs? And
exactly.
We'll have to wait 160 games, 158, 157 games to find out if that's going to happen. Like
and then with the loss of Edwin Diaz, the bullpen now is a little flaky. Who's going to close out these close games? Baseball always comes down to the last inning. So, and not having a good closer out there to close your games, that's a really tough one right now.
I just saw Chapman throw 102 miles per hour, man. He's over there with Kansas City. They just picked him up. And, you could probably pick them up or do something, try to trade for him. But, I don't know.
But like you said, it's early. Anything could happen. The trade deadline is still a long time from now. These teams are going to make the moves they need to make in order to get better, So,
yeah, for sure.
I'm not worried for the Mets. If there's a closer out there like Chapman and a losing team with the Royals, hey, man, they could probably pick them up.
Yeah. Well, because the East do have the Braves, and the Braves seem like they're not gonna lose anything that important right now. Like, I think they're going the right direction. I don't know how they sign these top-notch players for a low amount of money. I don't know what they're showing them or how they're hypnotizing them, but whatever they're doing out there, they're signing these top players for not a huge contracts. So
right,
they're doing it right. They're being smart, exactly.
Paying them early, and I'm like, how do they already know they're going to be great though? That's my question. I'm like, but they're the GMs for a reason, man. They've been watching them, scouting them from a long time.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy about Atlanta. So you have the Mets, the Phillies, and Atlanta, and everybody else. It's not gonna. I don't think they're gonna be running for that division. But right now, because of the injuries happened to the other teams, I think the Braves, and not just because they have injuries, I think the Braves are the most solid team out in the East, and the Braves are not a must-win team right now as well. They're still young, and they got younger once they didn't sign Freddie Freeman. So that's a good move, the way the Braves are doing it. And the Phillies, are they a must-win team as well?
You know what? I don't really think the Phillies are a must-win team. They did such a great job just by making it last year as a wild card. Yeah. Honestly, most people didn't expect the Phillies to be in that situation.
No.
Nobody saw them coming. The team just picked up at the right time. So, with the injury of Hoskins being out the whole year, Harper coming in late, and then the pitching kind of got worn out deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they were to make the playoffs, it would be a huge win for them. But there's no pressure for me, in my opinion. They did such a great job last year just by going far.
Gotcha.
It's more on the Mets for sure, the pressure, but all the spending Steve Cohen did this year. Just more expectations. The more you spend, the more we expect from you. So
exactly. And yeah, man, I got one more mention, the Cardinals, because they are getting older. You do have a Renato and you do have Goldschmidt at first. And these guys are getting older and they're gold glovers out there. And everybody knows them because they have a glove. And especially out here in the West Coast, these guys were like, they used to bomb on the Dodgers. Like Arenado used to hit bombs at Dodger Stadium. Goldschmidt, the same thing. So are the Cardinals a must-win team because they are getting older. And I feel like these guys, it's like, you say these guys deserve a ring, right? You say things about like Trout. This guy deserves a ring. But you have Goldschmidt and you have Arenado. Do you feel like this is a must-win team now?
It's definitely a must-win. They're definitely the NL Central favorites. They're very great defensively in the corners, like you said. Catcher-wise with Wilson Contreras edition.
Yeah.
And then Adam Wainwright's also not only – he's in his 40, approaching 40, if I'm not mistaken. He's 40 now.
And this
he's
is last season.
End of last season, correct.
Yeah.
So we have – you saw him sing the national anthem, though? A great job,
I should have put it here. I should have, man.
But that team is a must-win for sure. They have some great players out there, man. Lars Newbar just came from Japan too, playing with Cardinals.
Yeah.
They have some good pieces out there, man. And I expect them to win the Central with ease. Definitely should be. So
you're just saying that the Brewers are not gonna try to like. You don't feel like the Brewers.
I saw Wiggle last week, and I know he was a big Brewer. He looks like he's all for the Brewers this year, man.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I don't know, man. Cardinals are just always in the mix. I feel the Brewers could fight for the wild card spot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They'll be fighting with the Cardinals, but I think just Cardinals have a deeper team all around.
I agree, and that's who I picked because they have a better defense. They have hitting and they have some pitching, but the defense for me, because of how the shifts are not happening and all these things that are new to the game, I feel like the Cardinals have a better shot of winning this division. And yeah, I agree that they do need to win this year. This is a must-win year for them. And I didn't say for the Padres if that's a must-win, but I feel like the Padres do need to win this year because then you're losing another year and another year. They're getting older. They're getting a longer time. They're going to need a longer time to get recoup if they do have injuries. But you do have these young players, which Tatis is a really young player, super young player. You have, if they sign Juan Soto, another like young player. Sander Bogart's another young player. The only one that's moving up on age and is not even that old, it's going to be Machado. He's going to be 33 next year. So if they don't win this year, it's just going to get harder for them as time goes by. And maybe I'm wrong. Like all these things we're saying here, maybe we're wrong to it, but it's just we're fans and we're saying it like it is. We're talking about it. And like, I don't know, these analysts are picking some ridiculous calls out there. I just see it and I'm like, what are they talking about? Are you serious? So then I sit down and watch it and I'm like, no, they're not watching the same thing I am. What are they watching? Like, I don't know. There was one thing that I saw that the Padres weren't even going to make the playoffs. And I think it was Jake Peavy that said that. And Jake Peavy played for the Padres.
Exactly.
So how the hell does that happen? How the hell does that man say that the Padres are not going to make the playoffs? Like, are you serious? You see the lineup? I don't know. Maybe because he didn't win a World Series with them. I mean, he won the World Series with the Giants. But, dude, are you kidding me, man? Like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with some of these analyst decisions. So, yo, done with the dinner RTV time. Oh, there you go. So you have to run. Hey. I put a post up with a chango running to see RTV. That's what I meant. Like, funny, so, you got the joke. Cool, man. Welcome, Chewy, to the show. We already talked about the Braves. You missed it. He's a Braves fan.
Oh, yeah.
You missed it. But if you have a question about the Braves, we can discuss it here, man. You're never too late for that.
Well, I just want to touch Chewy. Personally, for me, coming from the NO, I got the Braves coming out this year.
There you go.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
and I have a Braves hat, and not because they're gonna win the division, but because the kids play in the Braves, and the Braves, dude, the Braves were the team of the '90s. They're starting to become the team of the '20s. That sounds weird saying 20s. Oh my God. Yeah, it sounds like old. Maybe because I'm from the 1900s. Like maybe that's why it sounds old. Well, man, I know Ernie and you close to the Braves. I chose the Braves. Like, yeah, of course, we did choose the Braves. Dude, we hit that time already. We're about to hit that hour mark.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it off here. We always just last 1 hour. If we go over, it's because we do get like a lot of questions and we do have a lot of interaction, which we did today. And we thank you for being here. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and do that. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. We like for you to see the other shows. We do have the fantasy part of the show, which is on Fridays, which is Will and Xavi. They're going to be explaining, and sometimes Tony Snap's going to be jumping in for that. And we don't have the fantasy results, but I know Will have the 2-start pitchers for you on Friday for the following week, and we'll have the recap for that. As we move on, we're going to have more shows. We're going to be doing the previous week recap. We're going to talk about players. We're going to talk about who was the player of the week and stuff like that. But because there's only 4 games, and I think in fantasy, we do have the last week and this week together, it's all in the same results. So we can't really give you all that stuff. So we gave you our, the new faces, new places, all the type of stuff. So that's going to happen. We'll inform you about what happened with Rendon. He's just going to probably serve those 4 games. We don't know when that's going to happen, right? He hasn't said.
He started today, actually.
Oh, he started today, so he's not playing today.
Yeah,
all right, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go. So then, yeah, that's gonna happen. If you know what, maybe we should put the video. Chewy, we'll put the video for you so you can see that the Rendon video.
Put the video back, man.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see. Let me put it back up. If you guys haven't seen it, here we go again. We put it at the beginning of the show, but we do want to put it up again because I thought it was kind of like. Not funny, but the frustration you can see, right? I'll put it up.
Yeah, you called me a bitch, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, motherfucker. Calm down.
Calm down, Carlos. Calm down.
No, the dude that went like calm down was probably the dad of the fan that was getting grabbed. Like, calm down, don't touch my son. And you can see entering the dome being like, yes, you did. You called me a bitch. Motherfucker, you know what the hell, like, dude. And like we already talked about it, but I understand Anthony Rendon's frustration. Like,
yeah, man, it was definitely something crazy to see when I saw that. Like, wait, what? I never saw Rendon ever be mad at. He went to the Angels because he wanted to go to a smaller team, nothing too crazy, big city, But maybe UFC is his next career, Chewy.
Exactly, dude.
Or it could be those celebrity boxing. How about that?
Celebrity. Nah, I think you got to be careful with the quiet people. The quiet people are the ones that they say you got to be careful with. And Rendon is definitely one of those quiet people. Like he always does his game. He's quiet and he just leaves. No one knew he left because he's like that type of player. He's a good, respected player. Like everybody knows about him. And they know about him because he's quiet and he produces a lot of RBIs, home runs, and he's a great defensive player. So this that we just saw is really abnormal, like something that it's not expected from this player. So yeah, man, like I'm behind this man. Like if he did it, good. These fans need to learn that you can't just be calling people bitches out there. You can't just be exactly. You can't be saying that. You can't be doing that. There's kids out in the stands. There's people seeing the game. So like you can't be doing that. So maybe moving forward, fans need to be more responsible on this, man.
I think this is just a lesson learned from the MLB, for the players to see like, hey, if somebody calls you out, just ignore them. And as a fan, please don't, And I bet the MLB will do their thing, videos showing fans. Please do not scream at fans, the players,
Yeah, they're probably gonna have it on the jumbotron. Be like, fans, if you decide to talk crap, you will get out of the game or whatever.
Right.
Whatever. All right. So next show, man, we should talk about stadiums. We've been to a couple of stadiums, me and you, so we can talk about the difference in stadiums and stuff like that. We'll talk about the recap of week 2 or probably week 1 because it's all considered week 1. All this is probably week 1, right? So we'll do the complete recap. and we'll do that for sure. Felix, what are you saying? Push like and help the guys. Yeah, thanks, man. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Felix. We are doing 2 shows. We're doing the fantasy. We're doing news. We're doing all this. All of this is happening together. We're not mad with willpower. Like we discussed it in the last show when we were all together. We're going to probably do those shows together once a month. Ernie, haven't introduced you to all the guys. You need to be part of that show. So there's going to be 5 guys on that show. It's going to be kind of hard to host that, but we're going to do it. We're all friends here. So, yeah, dude, we'll do that for sure. From us here at Real Talk Baseball, I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Orange. Real Talk Baseball, signing out.
Thank you, guys. Take care.